Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Mr. Safijal and all my friends. My name is Satina Atiarka, and here I want to present my mini research. The title is A Modern Approach to Communicative Language Teaching in English Classes in Junior High School. Next slide. For the background of the study, a method of teaching languages known as communicative language teaching focuses heavily on engagement and communication as the primary goals of the language learning. The development of learners' communicative skill, which includes their capacity to use language successfully and responsible in a range of social and cultural contexts, is the main focus of the course. The research will likely examine the background, tenets, and distinguishing characteristics of CLT and how this relate to the instruction of English as a foreign language in junior high schools. The usefulness of CLT in improving students' language learning outcomes may also be explored, as well as the difficulties teachers may have in putting this strategy into practice. Next. And the purpose of the study goal is to look into and assess the efficiency of a contemporary method to communicative language teaching, or CLT, in junior high school English classes. The research may examine how this style of language instruction differs from more conventional ones and how it can better include students in communicative activities to advance their language skills. The study may look at how the contemporary method affects students' motivation, language learning effectiveness, and overall English communicative proficiency. The study intends to offer teachers and educators new perspective and suggestion for improving language instruction in junior high school classes. Next. For the research questions, there are three research questions. For the first, how does a cutting-edge strategy for teaching communicative language impact the English language proficiency of junior high school students? And the second, what are the key components of a modern communicative language teaching approach that are most effective in enhancing English language acquisition in junior high school students? And for the last, what are the challenges that teachers face in implementing a modern communicative language teaching approach in junior high school English classes, and how can these challenges be addressed? For the literature review, the first is communicative language teaching. According to Wigenbach and Lazaraton, 1991, CLT incorporates actual group interaction, including negotiation and interaction. Additionally, it promotes and encourages students to use their general knowledge and linguistic skills to real-world problems, including communication, negotiation, persuasion, decision-making, and through actual and similar to actual practice, learners develop their English proficiency and get the confidence to speak in the language. And then characteristic of CLT, Nunai 1991 lists the following 5 CLT characteristics. The first, emphasizing communication skills in the intent tongue, and then including real words in educational exercise, giving students the chance to improve both their language and learning skills, promoting the use of personal experience as a crucial component in class activities, and the last, making an effort to link assignment from the classroom and extracurricular activities. And then the 10 principles of CLT method. The 10 principles that underpin Gower, Phillips, and Walter's communicative method are as follows. For the first, interactivity, Student and teacher interaction as well as student interaction amongst themselves is the most direct path to learning. And the second, student engagement is highest with satisfied they are produced themselves. And the third, dialogic learning processes. Knowledge is constructed through dialogic and social learning. And the fourth, scaffolded discussions. Knowledge and skills are co-constructed by the learner and the teacher during conversation that serves a vehicle of learning. For the fifth, emergence as a result of learning, language and grammar develop. The acquisition of language is considered as distinct from this. And the sixth, providers, the instructor job is to emphasize emergent language in order to maximize language learning affordance. For the seventh, voice. In addition to the learner's convictions and expertise, the learner's voice is acknowledged. And then empowerment. By clearing the classroom of textbooks and published materials, students and teachers gain empowerment. And then relevance. Content such as text, audio recordings, and videos must be relevant to the learners. And the last, critical usage. Students and educators should use textbooks and publish researchers critically while acknowledging their own cultural and ideological bias. And the last, the implement of CLT in the classroom. The implement CLT in the classroom, a communicative setting that encourage engagement and communication must be created. Teachers can accomplish this by utilizing a variety of methods and exercise, including working in pairs or small groups, and then role-playing and activities to fill up the information gaps, like students do a task while sharing information in pairs, and then project-based learning. And the last is games. In a pleasant and interesting way, games can be used to encourage contact and communication. Next. For the methodology, research methods, for the study, qualitative research design was used. Data were gathered by observing and interviewing English language instructor or teachers who implemented a contemporary CLT strategy in their junior high school English courses. And then for the participants, junior high school students from a regional schools district of choice will participate in this study. Respondents taken in the study were one class of junior high school students consisting of 20 students. And then the impact of the CLT exercise in encouraging active involvement and communication among the students was assessed through classroom observation. For the data collection, observation in the classroom, and interviews with teachers, and the last for the data analysis, descriptive statistic will be used to examine the survey result in order to understand how the students felt about the two methods. Next. And then this is result and finding. In the previous 50 years, concepts regarding syllabus design and methodology have undergone major modification to language instruction, and CLT has put a reconsideration of methods for designing and implementing syllabi. The three phases that have characterized teaching trends for languages during the past 50 years are as follows. The first is phase 1, or conventional methods before until the later 1960s, following the development of a fundamental linguistic proficiency through spoken practice and carefully supervised with practice. And the second is teaching traditional communicative languages during past 1970s to 1990s. It was suggested that language capacity involved a lot more than just grammar proficiency, calling into doubt the importance of grammar in language teaching and learning. And for the past 3, present-day instruction in communicative languages from the late 1990s to now, because the introduction of CLT, educators, and the others of teaching researchers have looked in order to produce classroom activities that represented guidelines for a communicative approach. The result implied that a contemporary CLT strategy can help students become more proficient communicators in English. According to the teacher, the strategy helped to foster a communicative classroom climate where students were encouraged to converse and interact in English. They add the method assists children in developing their linguistic abilities in a more organic and meaningful manner. Next. And then for the discussion, students in junior high school are at a crucial point in their language development because they are laying the groundwork for future language acquisition. Therefore, using a contemporary method of CLT can aid in fostering their language competency and giving them the abilities they need to properly communicate in a globalized environment. And then teachers can use technology to improve their pupils' language acquisition because digital gadgets are so common. And for some CLT proponents also note useful differentiating between three sorts of practice. They are communicative, both substantive, and machine learning. And some modern approach in CLT that teacher can be used. The first information gap exercise, and then jigsaw puzzles, and the last other CLT activity kinds like puzzles, games, reading maps, and other classroom assignment, student-led survey interviews, and searches. And for the research conclusion, CLT is a cutting-edge method of language instruction that places a focus on interaction and communication in language learning in junior high school English lessons, where students must build their communicative competence in a meaningful way. This method is very pertinent. A student-centered strategy that emphasizes on a communicative environment that encourages engagement and communication is necessary for implementing CLT in the classroom. To do this, teachers might employ a variety of strategies and exercises, such as role-playing, knowledge gap activities, project-based learning, games, and pair of group work. And thank you very much for your attention. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Itu lu ngalangin tuh. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Mr. Safrizal, as a lecturer and of my friend. Today, I would like to present my presentation about seminar on English language teaching with the title of English language teaching through communicative approach in senior high school. My name is Marcel Gisnoverdo. My student number 222320057. Next. The first one is the purpose of the study. The study on English language teaching through the communicative approach in Indonesian senior high school aims to analyze and assess the effectiveness and effects of implementing the communicative approach in English language classrooms. Next. Next, introduction. English is of great importance as the global language of communication, commerce, and science. Communicating in second language today involves various characteristics of language such as social, cultural, and pragmatic aspects of language. Brown, 2007. High schools in Indonesia play a significant role in preparing students for future academic and professional endeavors by providing them with English competence. Teaching English is critical in equipping students with the skills they need to navigate a globalized society and advance their academic and professional prospects. The traditional grammar-based approach to English instruction is gradually giving way to a communicative method that focuses on developing students' capacity to utilize English in real-life communicative context. It looks at how a communicative approach is implemented in secondary schools and how it affects student language and communication skills. Communicative language teaching has a significant impact on the teaching of second and foreign languages. Next. These are the research questions. The first one is, what is the status of communicative techniques in Indonesian high school English classrooms? The second one, what are the difficulties and advantage of using communicative approach? The third one, what recommendation may be made to increase the incorporation of communicative techniques in Indonesian high school English education? Next. Next, literature review. The first one, I got the communicative approach in language teaching. The communicative method to language teaching arose in the 1970s as a response to the constraint of traditional grammar-based technique. Beliefs about learning and communication strategies have been found to influence this learner's language learning success. These beliefs influence learner preference, choice of strategies for practicing English, the development of communication competence, which refers to the ability to use language effectively and appropriately in real-life communicative situation is emphasized. The second one, implementation of the communicative approach in senior high school. In order to implement a communicative strategy in secondary schools, a transition from traditional teacher-centered education to learner-centered communicative activities is required. Teachers should create a welcoming learning atmosphere that encourages active involvement, cooperation, and meaningful interaction between students. Next. The third one, benefits of the communicative approach. A communicative method has numerous benefits for English learners. It improves students' communication abilities, language skills development, learner autonomy and motivation, and preparation for real-world communication in an English-speaking environment. The next one, challenge in implementing the communicative approach. Implementing a communicative approach in high school presents several challenges. These include limited resources such as textbooks and audiovisual materials, large class size, inadequate teacher training, and pressure to focus on exam-oriented teaching. Significance of the study. The study is significant because it provides insight into the present implementation of communication tactics in Indonesian secondary schools. It emphasized the benefits and obstacles that teachers and students experience, as well as recommendation for strengthening the incorporation of communicative approach into high school English instruction. The finding of the study can advise policymakers, school administrators, and English teachers on the necessity of using effective techniques to improve secondary school English teaching practice. Next. Methodology. The first one, research design. The study used qualitative data collection methods, classroom observation, provide qualitative data on classroom practices and student engagements. Participants in the study are English teachers and high school students from various schools in Indonesia. A representative sample is selected to ensure diverse perspective and experiences. Data collection method. We conduct surveys of English teachers to gather data on teaching methods, material use, and assignment. Teaching observation are conducted to observe teaching strategies, such as student interactions and level of engagement. Interviews are conducted with teachers and students to gain a deeper understanding of their experiences and perceptions. Next, data analysis. The collected data are analyzed using qualitative analytical techniques. Survey data is analyzed using descriptive statistics to identify patterns and trends. Qualitative data from observation and interviews are transcribed, coded, and thematically analyzed to identify recurring themes and provide comprehensive explanation. Next. Results and finding. A. Current status of the communicative approach in senior high schools. The results indicate that the implementation of communicative approach is moderately common in Indonesian English-speaking high school classrooms. Some teachers incorporate communicative activities while others still rely on traditional method. B. Benefits of the communicative approach. Adopting a communicative approach to language teaching has many benefits for learners. These benefits go beyond language skill development and encompass different aspects of language learning and communication skill. C. Challenges in implementing the communicative approach. Several challenges prevent effective implementation of the communication approach. Limited resources such as textbooks, audiovisual materials, and technology limit the ability of teachers to plan and conduct communication activities. Large classes make it difficult to provide individual attention and foster meaningful interaction. Next. Discussion. A. Integration of the communicative approach into the English language curriculum. To integrate a communicative approach into the English curriculum objectives, teaching strategies, and assessment procedures must be aligned with the principles and goal of the approach. B. Teacher training and professional development. Investing in a comprehensive teacher education program is essential to providing teacher with the knowledge, skills, and confidence they need to effectively practice a communicative approach. Professional development opportunities such as workshops, seminars, and collaboration with peers should be provided to support teacher development and the implementation of innovative educational strategies. Next. C. Resources and materials. Efforts should be made to provide English teachers with appropriate resources and materials that are consistent with the principles of the communicative approach. Access to up-to-date textbooks, audiovisual materials, online resources, and technology can improve the quality of communicative language teaching and learning. D. Overcoming challenges for effective implementation. Addressing the challenges associated with large classes can be achieved through strategies such as grouping students, creating task-based activities, and incorporating technology for interactive learning experience. Additionally, collaborating among teachers, sharing best practices, and creating supportive professional learning communities can help address challenges and foster more effective implementation of communication approach. Next. Conclusion. The study investigates the implementation of a communicative approach in English education in secondary school in Indonesia. The results highlight the advantage of the approach in promoting language proficiency, student engagement, and motivation. However, challenges related to limited resources like class sizes and teacher training prevent optimal implementation. Recommendations were made for policymakers, school administrators, and English teachers to improve the integration of communication approach. By implementing this recommendation, high schools in Indonesia can create a more communicative and interactive learning environment that prepares students for real-world communication in English. Next. Next.
Udah habis.
Okay, I think that's all from my presentation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.